welcome to the podcast. Today, by the way, I'm joined by just Blue Fox by himself, because I kind of wanted to make this a surprise. He has no idea what's happening in this particular podcast. He has...
Should I be worried?
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, we've got a few surprises. Basically... this came to me yesterday because I was planning. We were planning on this podcast. We won't tell you what it is because we'll save it to like next month or something. But while I had this dream, and I wasn't dreaming of
a dream.
Yeah, I had a dream. I had a crazy dream idea of a podcast, and it wasn't so much as like I wasn't dreaming of a white Christmas. I was dreaming of a Blue Fox hosted podcast Christmas. So I thought I'd make my own dream a reality. And before I dump that on you, because that would be
your dream is quite oddly specific.
It's a very thing. It's basically going to be a Christmas theme, and I'm going to push this out on a Boxing Day podcast. Where Blue Fox is going to be asking all of the questions that he'll have just received now on Discord, and he'll be asking them to both of us, where we'll both answer. And also on top of that, obviously I can see he's probably not going to start thinking of loads of Christmas games. I did want to discuss that God of War, before we talk about anything, is probably the best Christmas game out there, and I'll tell you why. And I've sent him pictures previously to kind of explain why I think it's the best Christmas game ever. It's because you play as Santa, don't you, Blue Fox? You play as Santa in God of War, don't you? Yeah.
How did you make me agree to this? Is beyond my capabilities. Your dream is quite convincing, I can say that.
Yeah. Okay. In God of War, you play as a big guy. Santa's quite big. With a beard. He's got a beard, yeah. And he delivers stuff. I'm not quite sure if that's delivering stuff, but he definitely rides a sleigh and likes to hang out with children. I don't know where that's going, but
if that's not Christmas to you, yeah, what's Christmas, right?
Yeah, and he loves snow. He loves it. He lives in it. So yeah, there are a few things with God of War and Santa that I can see very similar. In fact, there's actually a mission where you ride a sleigh right at the beginning of God of War 2. So yeah, I take God of War being the best Christmas game ever because you play as Santa. And he's mythical, and the game's mythical. It's great. Anyway, right. Would you like to start with the introduction, or shall I?
Yeah, it's just I'm a little bit caught off guard.
Yeah.
You're releasing this podcast on Christmas, so it does make sense for you wonderful people listening to this discussion. But for us recording a couple of weeks before, yes, it's
but
truly...
By the way, this is a surprise for the Blue Fox fans as well, because Blue Fox is currently away right now. So the fact that he's here and away at the same time is a bit weird, but yeah.
Yeah, that's not a thing too much of that.
Yeah. So I brought him back just for a day. I'll start off with my game ideas. By the way, I'll just name a few. So Bully is probably one of my favorite Christmas games. That's actually got winter and snow inside of it, and on top of that, there's an actual themed Christmas level. I can't remember what it is off by heart, but I'll name that's one of my favorites to remember. Fallout 4 puts in Christmas decorations in the December month when you play the game. If you visit what's it called? I can't remember the name of the thing. It's like Diamond City. If you visit Diamond City around Christmas, you will see Christmas decorations up in Diamond City, but only for that period of time, which is class. And also there's another game, Hitman. Hitman actually has a mission where Santa's inside of it. Like there's a Santa mission. So I'll so those are 3 games that represent Christmas for me. What about you? You got any ideas? It's a bit short notice.
On top of my head,
yeah,
I can think that most Yakuza games are set in December.
Are they? That's crazy cool.
Like most of them are set in winter. It's like not like you don't see all the time the snow or the let's say Christmas holiday decorations, but like there are certain winters around
Yeah.
that time.
Hmm.
Yakuza 5 specifically, I can recall that there is a side mission where there are some children that aren't happy because there is a fake Santa that is not giving out the gifts, but it's just bullying the children. And what you do is that you beat up that person and you dress as Santa, and then you give the gifts with Seishima.
That's
And you do
cool.
this, and Yakuza 5 specifically, that game is set like very close to Christmas Day, if not around the Christmas days. And the city of Sapporo, which is up north in Japan, so it's quite snowy. You do see the Christmas decorations and the statues and the trees and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's only the sole example I can truly think of.
Okay, cool. Right,
It's
okay.
a lot of games set in the Christmas in winter. That's for sure. I made a whole video of snowlands in video games.
That's cool.
But yes, Christmas Day specifically, you caught me off guard.
Cool. Okay, do you want to start off with the first question first?
Yes,
Okay.
I might as well. Yes, of course.
Cool.
So, since I'm hosting the podcast now, I guess, Seb, up to you. How should a game add Christmas into their adventure?
How should the Christmas game? Oh, that is a good question to start off with. You know what? I like the fact, one of my favorite games when it comes down to it is things like Fallout 4, where it's not so much as like uh it's this Christmas themed levels. It's just like it doesn't really change the way the game's played, but it adds in a sparkle of decorations into Diamond City. So you go around Diamond City and you're like, oh, there's a Christmas tree, and it's not so much as like it very much rewrites and changes the whole entire game. It really just like adds in like elements of Christmas, elements there and elements here and elements there. I think if when a game adds in Christmas, if it's a serious game, it shouldn't twist the game up. But if the game's non-serious, I think it has the give it the ability to do so. For example, things like Hitman. Hitman might be a serious game on the thing, but there are some of the side levels which are like the extra add-on edition levels where it just gets a little bit, you can pretty much go a little bit crazy and do what you like. For example, like they released that James Bond theme pact, so there's the thing where you get to win a casino table. I'm not going to say how you do it, but it's quite funny, the method of gaining that particular ticket. It goes with like, it really just goes like breaks the third rule and has to do with restarting the level, which is obviously something you wouldn't naturally do, but it's part of the thing. So just adding in Santa into a game like Hitman is just perfect. You can go with Bully. That really doesn't take a serious tone as much. You play as a bully. You're buying houses outside of school. It doesn't take that serious school tone. It just it's like if you watch it, you'll understand. But basically, I think for Bully and things like that, I think you've got the ability to really craft a full entire Christmas level out of that. And I think it depends how silly the game can actually stretch to be when it comes down to these things. It's my version. What about you?
I would say that games that are life simulators, I can think of Animal Crossing, I can think of Stardew Valley. They do usually have Christmas events in their adventure because they do reflect our own timeline and reality. So, for instance, Animal Crossing has events for Easter, events for the summer, events for Halloween, etc. So it has all the major things that are part of our real world. And one of them is of course Christmas. I don't recall exactly what they do in the games, as in what's actually happening. It's been a while since I've last played Animal Crossing, and it's been a while back that I played Animal Crossing on Christmas Day. But probably something regarding sharing gifts and with Christmas decorations all across the town. Probably the same goes for Stardew Valley and The Sims and all the games that are from this style. Other more serious games, they might add some Christmas charm just to, as you said, like the example of Bully and Fallout, just to make the player feel a little bit more in the Christmas theme. Maybe Let's say it's a way to remind players who play a little bit too much games and don't spend time with their families that, hey, today's Christmas, maybe you should do something. An excellent example that I have found while reading back my script of the video I've made before, because again, I was caught off guard, so off camera I had to do a little bit of research. In that video, I cite one wonderful example, which is the video game Verdun.
Okay, yeah.
Verdun is a game set during the First World War. So it's a first-person shooter, multiplayer online, with the
Oh, right.
trenches, the English and the Germans, a normal first-person shooter. On Christmas Day, all the maps are set to no firing, so you cannot shoot the weapons, and you can only throw snowballs. So you can only play by throwing snowballs at the enemies and
That
playing
is
football.
cool.
This is why this is not a thing that developers made out of the blue. This is a reference to the Christmas truce, which was a real event that happened in history. So the First World War started in summer of 1914, but by the end of 1914, by December, there was in all of the Western Front, well, not all the Western Front, but in various parts, there was a truce for Christmas days because back then people were also more religious, so it was also religiously important. But yeah, and in some cases, the English and the Germans were playing football. They were playing snowballs. They were basically, meeting their enemies in a more human way. And this is one of the most humane events that ever happened to history. Something that is truly, heartwarming. And it is fun that you see it also in the video game Verdun. And that's a wonderful Easter egg that the developers placed when you play the video game on Christmas Eve.
I like how it has like a lesson and a meaning towards it as well. Like there's like a moment inside the game where it's like, just pause 1 second. We're gonna pause everything that we're doing inside this game, and we're just gonna do snowballs and thing. And it's just really gonna like. I think that's such an important rule to remember. The fact that that I can't remember what the year was. You said it, didn't you? What was it
1914.
1940, where everything just stopped for like half a second there, and everyone just played football. And I think that's such a really good calling. That we add that in adverts, we add that in like episodes. Like for example, I think that was added in Doctor Who, and we add that in games. So we remember that moment. We remember that sometimes Christmas is a time to pause and to stop all the fighting and all the stuff, and because we do as humans, we just get caught up in that stuff, and I think that's such an important thing to remember that that is an important
Yeah,
game.
and again, it's related to Christmas, so and it's cool
Absolutely,
that happens also in video games.
yeah,
So right, it's these are very good examples we both brought.
cool.
But follow up with the next questions. What kind of Christmas features work best? Snow maps, the quest, events, some sort of skins or music themed regarding Christmas. What do you think?
Um, Okay, it's funny that you mentioned things like in that order, like maps, quests, events, skins, and music. Because the two things that come up with me when you say that particular thing are things like Grand Theft Auto Online and also things like Fortnite. I can't remember if Fortnite are doing something crazy this year, but I think they've done stuff in the past. But because Fortnite has the way to change maps for every battle royale. It adds in, I'm pretty sure Fortnite has events around Christmas. So, like, I don't know whether they're going to make the map snow this Christmas. I feel like we've had snowy maps before. I can't remember. I think we have. But yeah, I think, Fortnite is a prime example of a game that could really do Christmas justice, where, you can add snow, you can add in Christmas themed events, and Christmas themed skins. I imagine it will add in Christmas themed skins. I imagine they'll do that every year. When it comes to Grand Theft Auto Online, is a very, very short period it does this in, and if you miss it, you miss it. But if you play it, you play it. Where it adds in snow on like I think somewhere between Christmas Day and New Year, and it doesn't really add major differences. But when the snow comes, it's impossible to see because there's so much snow everywhere. So it's like you're playing the game and the roads are skiddier more than normal, so it's harder to drive around that period of time. If you're flying a plane, you can't quite see things as normal because the air's all foggy, so you kind of have to be a bit more predictive on where you're going. Yeah, I've played on GTA Christmas before, and it's like I'm just gonna pause my heist for a week and just focus on Christmas, because I cannot do this heist in this weather conditions. It's impossible. So it's like, you just pause the stuff that you're doing just because it's snowing, and again, you got that thing, where it's like it really doesn't. It snow takes a toll on changing the whole entire game, but it doesn't change the missions. It just changes the way you play it. So it's
Right.
it's interesting. What about you?
Yeah, I would say that it's to have extra content for Christmas is surely a welcomed feature. I wouldn't exaggerate because I would not punish the people who don't play like again like a game like Fortnite or a game that has regular updates, so maybe Genshin Impact or games that are quite eventful and that have events specifically locked for a period of time. I wouldn't put too many stuff that is locked behind a window where people usually do not play a lot of video games, or at least myself, I don't, because usually I go back to the old country. I spend time with my family, with my brother, with my parents, grandparents. So it's maybe I would play some smaller games on my Switch or on my 3DS on the go. But I wouldn't invest that much time into games that are endless. So it's nice to have something, right? To have some little gifts, some little decoration, some little appreciation, but not too much to the extent that you exclude the people who do not play during the Christmas time. So the example I've made earlier for Verdun, that's a fun event, that's a fun Easter egg, let's say, of the game. But you're not losing that much if you don't participate, because it's just basically playing snowballs rather than shooting people with rifles. So it's not the biggest of deals. So no, it's but again, every feature is welcome, and probably it makes sense to theme them around snow because most of people live in the northern hemisphere of the world. There's of course people who do live in the southern hemisphere in Australia and South America that for them would be quite weird because for them Christmas is celebrated in the summer, right? Because they are in the other side of the globe.
Yeah.
But in our, let's say, cultural bubble, we would do consider Christmas linked heavily with winter. So it makes sense to make snow themed levels as well.
Snow themed is kind of what I was aiming at with my answer there.
What about games that are a little bit more, darker or mythological, like Skyrim or Dark Souls? Yeah, would you say they should do something for Christmas, even if it's like, for kind of a joke, right? Because you would expect these games to be a bit more darker in tone, but they do something. What's your take on that?
I can't remember this precisely very well, but I don't like. I think, and with things like those darker mythological themed kind of thing, I think it's a bit odd. Sorry, I think it's a bit odd if you bring Christmas into a mythological world. However, I think Skyrim has attempted to do it, like adding myths about Santa into their world. So I don't think it's impossible. I think there's situations where maybe you could have like a Santa themed monster, which
Even if it's a bit satirical, right? Because you would not expect it, right?
you wouldn't expect it, but it would be fun to see a scary man with a red suit and a beard, I don't know, attacking with whips or something, because that's what you might use on reindeer to make them go faster. But
but again, also it doesn't have to be something to exaggerate, right? Could be cosmetics, could be as you said, like some lights placed around towns.
Exactly. What was the other thing?
Would you say that it should be? I mean, when we talk about these Christmas events, you wished games implemented more often. Do you specifically refer to Christmas as in like as we intended in the Western world, or you mean just the winter holidays? Because you also have the Yom Kippur for the Jewish, you have the Diwali for India, right? So it's just kind of it doesn't have to specifically refer to the Christian idea of Christmas, but more kind of the winter holiday theme.
I get that. What was the thing I was gonna say on that? Oh no.
Like how much effort should developers put into Christmas events, in your opinion?
How much effort should we get? I think maybe when it comes to how much effort should someone put into a Christmas event, maybe I'd say I don't think they need to add a lot. I think it needs to be sprinkled in, like 100% kind of sprinkled in. Um, but like it depends how they make the game. Like for example, if it's a game with dates, where it's you're like months in dates like that, maybe add in like something for the Christmas period of December. If it's a game that's story themed, depends when the story is themed. If the theme is around Christmas, go wild, add in loads of Christmas trees and all that kind of stuff into certain areas. Um, I, I think it depends the direction they want to go with the game. So, like for example, like if they're putting a game set at Christmas, which is totally fine to do, then yeah, go wild, add in
Are there
loads
any
of
games that are
Christmas stuff.
set in Christmas, as far as you know?
Life is Strange double exposure, 100%. It's a very the whole event happens around Christmas, so you see them setting up Christmas trees and they set up Christmas events and all that kind of stuff. It's a really good game. Whereas things like again, like I mentioned before, things like Fallout just has a Christmas period where they'll set up decorations just around December. It's two different focuses of games. Games with updates and all that kind of stuff. Maybe you could add like a Christmas map. Maybe you could add like Christmas items. Maybe you can add Christmas skins and Christmas clothing. But it's like I think it kind of comes down to three different things. When is the game based? What's the theme of the game or time period? Yeah, it's
What if it makes sense also contextually, right? Because in a game like Fallout, the game is still set in our own Earth, even if it's 200 years after a nuclear war. But yeah, people would still be aware what Christmas is, right? So it does have to be a little bit um, consistent with what we would expect within the gaming world. Yeah, makes more sense. So you would say that games would benefit from Christmas updates regardless of the genre.
I think a game would benefit from a Christmas update. I think that's absolutely true. I think there are games that would generally benefit because I think it just means that there's a bit more care into it. I think, for example, like obviously you're not gonna have a Christmas update in Life is Strange because the theme's set around Christmas, but there will be games where there is Christmas updates. For example, like Grand Theft Auto Online and I think Phasmophobia might add in a Christmas update. I can't remember if it does or not. But Fortnite definitely would benefit from a Christmas update because you can have Christmas themed skins, you can have Christmas themed events, Christmas themed clothing, and you could really get like things like Grand Theft Auto Online. You could get people to buy clothing that's Christmas styled and cars and style that's Christmas styled. Whereas Fortnite, you could have Christmas skins that people could buy. So money cost wise, yeah, they could definitely benefit. But I think it's beneficial that people can just pause the heavy duty part of the games and just pause and just do like some Christmas games and stuff like that. I think it's time to just take it a bit slow. I know for a fine example, like Grand Theft Auto, when it snows on the game, I think there is beneficial to the person because the person knows that the game cares. For example, you're not going to play as much Grand Theft Auto in the snow. So as much as you like playing things and snowball fights with your friends, also it gives you a bit of time to go like, actually, I don't want to do the heist today. We'll do the heist next week. So
Probably this
you
would
might
go in the
forced to take them off the game for a while and to spend time off the game, which is kind of cool because it shows you a little bit of care. I don't know if that's the way everybody else sees it.
Well, it's this one would go to the broader topic of seasons, like if games should add seasons or not in their adventure. Which I remember
Yeah.
I remember Pokemon Black and White added seasons, which I thought was quite cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you had all the 4 seasons, including winter, which was more snowy. But yeah, it's something that they did remove from the series, which is a bit of a disappointment, I would say. Yeah, they did focus more on having different zones of the map that have different themes. So yeah, in a game, in an RPG, let's say, yeah, like The Witcher, of course, you would have areas which are snowy, areas that are more deserts, where there are more jungles. Maybe not The Witcher, it's not a good example, but the Zelda Breath of the Wild, right? You would have areas that have locked climate, but yeah, then it would be nice to have seasons where some areas that are usually sunnier and greeny, they get more fall themed, and then they get winter themed. So then you can add the Christmas decorations in it. So if anything goes into symbiosis. So I guess one question that is not here listed, but that just come up to my mind is yes, do games that have season should games add seasons in their world to then make Christmas a quite quote unquote realistic event within the game? Should games do that, or should games stay with their own fixed season?
That's an interesting one. It's a little bit hard to really go into that, because as much as I say like there's a lot of games that don't really go into seasons when it comes, it's very hard to pick a seasonal game, because some games really do season stuff and some games don't. And okay, so like
I think most games don't.
I'd say, for example, like Hitman doesn't do seasons; it's got a level. Skyrim doesn't really do seasons. Fallout doesn't really do seasons, and I'd say Grand Theft.
Most games, if anything, you should count the games that do seasons, because those are.
And I'm trying to think of games that do seasons, and there's not a lot of them out there.
Like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, the Pokemon Black and White, but not.
And those are
because that's the thing. Like, it's if a game is structured from a narrative point of view to be in a specific time of the year, then it is a bit odd that if you play the same game but in a different time of your own timeline, like I play a game today rather than to play it in August, rather than to play it in February, then I would have the same exact narrative experience but in a Christmas setting, which of course doesn't quite work, right? It's could be nice of an Easter egg, but if you are playing a more serious game, say let's say, even your Fallout 4, like, okay, you have the Christmas decorations in Diamond City, but the game is still about the player waking up after 200 years of being frozen in time, and they're exploring this world that is destroyed after a war, and they're trying to understand how society was rebuilt, and etc. It's like, the game cannot be Christmas themed just because you're playing it the 25th of December. So you have to limit the updates and the Easter eggs to a point that doesn't affect the narration and the world building of such a game, right?
Yeah. I'd say kind of the best thing that does seasons for me. Yeah. Sims 4 Winterfest is kind of my prime example for this, because I was thinking, which one does they Winterfest for The Sims is probably the best one that does it for me, because you literally have a Christmas period. It starts snowing, you have to put up your own decorations, you can dress your characters in more Christmas stuff, and then on Christmas Day itself, because it's done in like a week, so like a month is second down to a week, so every season, instead of like 3 months, it does every season in 7 different days before it changes, so it's very fast. I think it's when like on day 5 is when Santa comes to visit, so there is a Father Christmas situation where he'll come to visit and put presents under the tree, and then your Sims can open it and receive little items, which is quite nice. I think Winterfest is kind of my favorite version of a Christmas themed thing, which makes sense when you play it even outside of like the Christmas season, because it's part of the game where it does it in every season is 7 months. So I can see that.
Okay, it's
if that makes sense. Is that kind of like the best answer I can give to that? I don't know.
No, it's fair enough, because also this is a bit more complex, as we said. We cannot pretend the game changes their story because you're playing it on Christmas, right? So it has to be realistic as a change. Mostly, I would say the games that do benefit from implementing Christmas as a feature, not only just as a quirky update, are games that are like life simulators, because yes, those games are trying to mimic reality, and those games want you to experience all the events, including Christmas. So I would say games like Fallout or Skyrim, they benefit the least, because yes, the whole games don't truly change as much. Are games that usually people also play in more than one day, right? Because they are also big RPGs and big adventures, so you would at most play them for like one day during the Christmas for a couple of hours, but yeah, then you would not even notice, unless like the decorations are there for like the whole holiday seasons, or like even for New Year's, for instance. But again, yeah, you can only implement New Year's if the game has its own date and its own setting, right? If you're playing a game that is set during the summer, yeah, you cannot have a New Year's event just in the middle of summer. That would feel a little bit out of place. But yeah, it's. Would you say that for games that do have little Christmas decorations and Christmas themed updates, justify their presence in the game with like lore or something that it's that explains to the players like, oh yes, in this world, although it's not our world, we also celebrate the holidays in this way. So do you think there should be a connection? Yeah.
So for me, basically, lores. I'd say kind of. I don't know. It's very tricky to get like a game that doesn't really do it and kind of make it exist and add lore in. I don't know. Sky is probably the best, I say, because like it doesn't add in Christmas, but I'd say if it adds in things from our world into their world, so like there's a Santa crossover, I think it would make it kind of like a myth, like some type of myth about him would be kind of interesting. I think if there's games out there that add him in that where he's not generally quite in, like they can add myths about him. Sims 4 Winterfest, it adds in different seasons and adds in Father Christmas, but it kind of changes his lore up a little bit inside Sims 4. Like he actually comes to visit the house, you can actually see him and all that kind of stuff. And he's called like a different name, like I think he's like Father Winter person. I don't know. I think it kind of changes a little bit of the lore, but not too much. But no, I think it's like if you add him in and you have to change the lore, you have to do it ever so gently, because if you change it too much, it's the lore isn't Christmas anymore. So if you get what I'm saying, like if you add in the lore, you've got to theme it around Christmas, otherwise it's not Christmas. If that makes sense.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's as you said, it feels very forced if you have to explain it. I mean, if somebody is launching a game that is that has a Christmas event within it, and yeah, the player is playing on Christmas Day, they kind of know what to expect, right? It's because for single player games, yes, in that case, you would need to justify if there's a Christmas at all. But even then, like it's not, you have to make such a big justification. Like if you would have a Christmas event saying The Witcher 4, right, in the upcoming game, you could just say like, oh yeah, the people here are celebrating the winter holiday. Period.
True,
It's not that you truly have to go your extra mile to say, oh, this is their way of Christian way to celebrate the Christmas, but it's not Christianity because Christianity doesn't exist in The Witcher 4. It's whatever else. Like I don't think it truly matters to push the player to, because if you give too many explanations, then you ruin the magic, right? You ruin the moment.
I'd say
You do want it to be spontaneous.
I'd say a lot of the games that I've mentioned or given examples for, like things like Life is Strange, Grand Theft Auto, Fallout 4, Phasmophobia, and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these games are set on Earth, and I think you can get around things a lot easier if you do a Christmas themed thing on Earth than you can in other places. Like, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Yeah. So I don't know. Personally, I would answer that like, yeah, I think lore is not needed. It's if it's just a Christmas event like that. Again, they call it something else. It's a winter holiday. Also because yes, it was one of the questions, but we already answered before regarding other winter holidays. Then yeah, it's in the Western world we have Christmas, but yeah, you also have Diwali, you also have Yom Kippur, you also have Ramadan that sometimes happens during the Christmas time. So
True.
Yeah, you do have other religions that they celebrate it in different ways, but overall the gist is to go with your family, have a nice dinner, have a nice lunch, spend time with the dear ones, maybe share gifts. That's the gist of the Christmas holidays, regardless of however you want to call them for whatever historic reason. So if within a video game you see that the local population is celebrating something that looks like Christmas, then you can call it Christmas and call it a day. In Super Mario Odyssey, in Super Mario Odyssey there is a kingdom there. The game is divided into various kingdoms that is snowy theme, and the houses and the village these winter creatures live within this winter kingdom, which I do not recall the name for. I don't think it was called the Snow Kingdom, but yeah, okay, it was quite snowy place. Yeah, it looks very Christmassy. It looks like your typical, German wooden houses with like the dresses and the Christmas theme, right? It felt very Christmassy, but the game doesn't ever say that it's Christmas. It's just how these people live. So, and I think that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. They don't have to go the extra mile to write a whole lore just for this one random kingdom in Mario Odyssey.
Just while we're in the middle of this, I was going to say, do you know what one game that I don't think has done a Christmas themed thing and has the perfect excuse to?
Which one?
Assassin's Creed. I think Assassin's Creed is the perfect excuse to do kind of like a Christmas themed thing. Like, oh no, the Animus has had a glitch. We're taking you back in time to a certain period of time for one special thing. I think that would be perfect. But like,
I'm thinking, is any of the Assassin's Creed games set in the Christmas time? I don't recall.
I don't recall either. I mean, maybe they have, but you got
maybe. But again, like
you got to remember when the time period is set. Is it before Christmas? Because if it's set before Christmas in one of the games, it's not going to have Christmas in it. So it would have to be
okay, fair enough. Like yeah. But yeah, it's again could be a fun thing. But if anything, you could say that this stuff you can place even if you're not playing the game on Christmas, right? Because maybe you are again like the Yakuza games are usually set in December. But yeah, they're set in December regardless when you play them. You can play them in August and the game is set in December. So the game could have a Christmas theme side story like Yakuza 5 has. And yeah, always have it there. It doesn't have to be an update or it doesn't have to be an event that only happens during the Christmas time.
Okay.
Can happen in the Christmas time of the game. So if the game is set in December, then
cool.
You can always have it. Right, it's a lot of questions, but we did answer lots of them in the discussion. So there's a fun one that you did right that I will read now, which is can a Christmas theme fit into a horror or post-apocalyptic game in a creative way?
Yes, I think so.
No doubt, yes. Just straight up, yes. No explanation given. Yes. No, but yeah, as we said earlier, right, with the theme of kind of the subvert expectations, right? It's if anything, it works the best, right? What do you say?
Fits into a horror post-apocalyptic game. Oh, I remember that. Okay. There was a it wasn't so much an update. It was an add-on downloadable content pack. Yeah.
For which game?
For I can't remember. How was it? Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas. That was it. And it was like the Doctor Who add-on pack, and it's where you go into a place and you're being followed by some things or some statues, and it just so happens it's kind of like on Christmas as well, so the map's all snowy and all that kind of thing. You're like, oh, what's happening here? Anyway, that's a Christmas theme thing. Put you into I don't know, games when that happen around December or something. I don't know. You could have just like in post-apocalyptic worlds or horror worlds, you can just add the theme of Saint Nick, add in a red suit, add in snow. That's all you really need to for the main portion of it. After that, theme it up, make him a horror character, or make him do a chase, or maybe make it more mythological and not actually introduce him at all, and just add like themes around that period. But 100%. Christmas doesn't have to always be, Christmas is a period of time where certain things happen. It doesn't necessarily have to mean anything else. Like, for example, have you watched the movie Home Alone?
Yes.
Like, okay, go wider, change the name of the game, use that kind of concept. Have a Home Alone themed kind of thing.
Yeah, that could be it. Actually, this does bring me to maybe the last question that we could ask.
Let's go
for the theme, which is not in your list, but and it's not specifically related to Christmas theme within video games. But Are there games that you would say you usually play on Christmas? Just like, there are Christmas movies that people watch in Christmas, Home Alone, The Polar Express, right? Like
Oh,
movies that
we
people kind of
talking
see over and over again during the Christmas times. Are there video games that you would say people play
games
on
that
the Christmas, or at least yourself too?
I play on Christmas? I do own a Home Alone game that I might play for a small period of time. The what unique games are there? I don't know. Maybe like I might play specifically. I guess I get. I generally I play Mafia too. Pretty much all like if I'm not playing Mafia throughout the year, I might be playing it around Christmas time just because like I love the beginning portion of that game where you're just driving through snow. I think that's just a great game to feature. I think Mafia 2 is a really good game to introduce snow into their games where like the opening like missions are like just like snowy and I think that's fantastic. If there's I don't know if there's a
Well, for me, it's the Mario Party games
Mario
because I
Party
usually play
games.
them. I usually play with my brother and friends when I go back to Italy, and those are the games that I play when I see back my family, and we play some Mario Party. It's chill games, relaxing, kind of for the whole family, so nothing violent, nothing
That's a good call.
too stress. It's so again, as you would see movies like The Polar Express and Home Alone and all these movie games. For me, the Mario Party games, I associated them with the holidays.
Okay, I'm going
That
to take this on a whole new route. I wouldn't play this necessarily as a video game, but I know I know it is a video game, so I'll mention it anyway. Monopoly is a game I will play around Christmas.
right, for instance, yeah.
Yeah, I'd play it. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd play it online around Christmas. I'd play it, um, with random people online. But I think the best experience for Monopoly is to play it with your family. I think Monopoly on Christmas is really bad idea. It's the family's round. You all play Monopoly together, but you do it anyway. You play Monopoly anyway, even though you shouldn't be, and and someone wins and other people lose, and you start falling out with each other. It's a really, really silly idea, but it's the only time of the period. So it's the only time of the year that's got a period where everybody's over. So you've got the excuse to play it, and you realize, this is why we haven't played it for the rest of the year because the game takes way too long, and everybody loses apart from one.
Well, okay. Well, maybe you guys listening to this discussion can tell us what games you usually play on Christmas
I'd love to
or
hear that. I'd
on
love
the
to hear it in the
holiday.
comments below. Maybe we'll play some of those games. It'll give us ideas to do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Well, I think with this we can wrap it up. Pun intended, right? We truly, let us.
What's your favorite Christmas game? Is it Yakuza?
Sure.
You
Yes,
go with
I'll
that.
go with that.
You go with Yakuza. I'll go with Grand Theft Auto. No. I'll go with Life is Strange Double Exposure because Double Exposure is literally based around Christmas, so I think it does my favorite and the best. It might not be the best game out of the list, but it's definitely my particular favorite when it comes to how much effort a developer puts into a Christmas game. I think Life is Strange Double Exposure for me. There you go. That's mine.
That's more than fair. Maybe I'll go with Verdun as well because Verdun has the Christmas truce, which I think is
That's a
quite
good one. I
poetic.
like that. Yeah, let's do it with that. Let's put that one in. Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. Well, yes, it's what is your favorite Christmas games? Lovely audience that listen to this discussion. Let us know in the comments below.
If you click that little subscribe button down below the video, you can actually subscribe to Jump Inside Games, or you can subscribe to Blue Fox's channel because they did that little update now on YouTube where you can subscribe to either of our channels just by clicking on that subscribe button. Yeah, very good. Yeah, so subscribe.
That's quite handy. Yes. Well, in that case, we wish you all a happy Christmas, happy holidays.
And we'll see you guys on another Jump Inside video. Thanks for watching and goodbye.
See you next year. Bye bye.
Hey, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, then please don't forget to consider to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on another Jump Inside video. Goodbye.